70,000 lecturers, librarians and administrative staff, the latest to strike across 150 universities today. They're members of the University and College Union, walking out over pay, working conditions and pensions in addition. It's their third walkout this month. Many more days, of course, planned in what's been a heavily disrupted February and March for students. Indeed, just 2 years after student education significantly impacted by the COVID pandemic. Well, let's get more now with our West Midlands reporter, Jack Carson, who's at the University of Birmingham, to assess what's happening there. And, of course, Jack, we do reflect that this is very disruptive for the students, although a lot of them have been supporting their lecturers in this industrial action.
That's exactly right, Mark. There's been a lot of support from students that were walking by the picket line when it was here a little bit earlier on, because of course so many of them are their lecturers, their professors, and they are supportive of them in this industrial action. And it looks like this action is going to continue, because the UCU, the University and Colleges Union, yesterday announced that they were going to reballot 70,000 of their members across 150 universities in order to continue this action for the rest of the academic year. Of course, we know that strike laws mean that you can only ballot for a period of 6 months at a time, and so they're reballoting to make sure they can go and take this industrial action well on into the summer. What they're wanting is a pay rise worth to the RPI measure of inflation plus 2% or 12%, whichever they say is higher, as well as action to end 0-hour and temporary contracts, which a lot of academic staff, not so much lecturers and professors, but a lot of other academic staff that are on those 0-hour contracts, as well as action to tackle excessive workloads, which they say leads to a lot of unpaid work out of their usual hours. Now, the UCEA, which is the University of Colleges Employment Association, they offered the UCU a pay rise of between 5 and 8% for the period of 2023 and 2024. That was rejected, and so of course this action continues. But every year there are negotiations between the UCU, trade unions and universities to talk about what the pay should be for the next year. In August 2022 they agreed on a 3% increase for all other staff, as well as an uplift of 9% for some of the staff on the lowest wages. And so a lot of university staff have already had a pay increase over the last 12 months, but of course with rising inflation it's meant that this rise is essentially increasing.
And is it one of the complicating aspects of this in terms of the university staff is there's a sort of parallel discussion about the pension arrangements, and that's been going on for some time now?
Yeah, this pension discussion has been it's been a real kind of dispute for much of the last decade, really, because it all reignited itself just before the pandemic, when there was going to be a re-evaluation of the pension scheme, which is used by academic staff, called the university's superannuation scheme. What that meant is that the valuation, essentially, the unions are saying anyway, was a little bit flawed, because it was going, of course, off that start of the pandemic, when we knew we had markets crashing and a deficit of around £14.1 billion. That meant that the changes introduced meant contributions increased but future benefits decreased, and so the union is demanding that the staff pension benefits, because the unions are saying that it'll mean that around 35% of guaranteed future entire income for their academic staff will be lost.
But no indication, as with many of the other public service unions, of the government getting to the discussion table on this?
No, not so far. Of course, this rejection of the 5 to 8% pay offer was rejected at the end of January. We know that there are talks going on between the UCU and the UCEA to try and resolve and come to the table again. But by the looks of it, government intervention, at least, and of course this reballoting of the 70,000 members across 150 universities indicates that the UCU are well prepared to take this industrial action into the summer.